My pleasure. My pleasure. Kabir Saab, thank you for illuminating us with so much interesting, um, so many interesting reactions. I'm sitting in Srinagar, and it's a wonder that I'm connected to this great group. Um, I wanted to ask you uh, an old story about an old story. It should relate to about the time when you were in college in the 60s, about the mid 60s. Do you recall? I think this came from um, Mr. Ravi Dayal originally, and it relates to your time. That uh, when Jawaharlal Nehru was the prime minister, there was someone called Lenin Mitra who had a dream. He dreamt that Nehru had died, but Nehru had not died. So he woke up in the middle of the night and he ran out and told someone that Nehru had died. And I think it was him or someone who cycled off to Teen Murti house to find out if Nehru had died. And I think it was, yeah, Lenin Mitra went to Teen Murti house and promptly got arrested because his name was Lenin Mitra. And in the meanwhile, the story started spreading in the res in Stephens. And at that time, I can't tell you on the Zoom because it's recorded of the languages used, but they said certain words and they said that he died. And promptly the bishop ordered a service in his memory, though he had not actually died. The principal of St. Stephen's called up the Hindustan Times and asked, have you heard any news about Nehru Saab having passed? And they promptly asked him, who's speaking? And he said, I'm the principal of St. Stephen's. So the Hindustan Times editor said, thank you very much. I'll find out. So this huge thing spread around your time. I'm just curious if you've heard this story or if I'm telling it for the first time in this group. And if there's anybody else who knows it, that would be very interesting.
I mean, I never heard that story at all. But you're sitting in Kashmir reminds me that one of the chapters of my book begins with my first 7 years in Kashmir and my father's role as a friend of Sheikh Abdullah and his writing the new Kashmir Constitution. And all these wonderful childhood memories that I had of curling into the hollows of chinar trees and dreaming of flying off to faraway places, and my cook telling me I was the commander-in-chief of the Indian Army, and on the way to school I'd be cycled by him along the Dal Lake, and I'd salute every soldier that passed and they'd salute me back, convincing me all the more, etc. So there's a very lyrical section of that whole Kashmir, my time in Kashmir, which is in the book. You're mentioning the Prime Minister's, Nehru reminded me that there's a part of my book where I talk about my friendship with Rajiv and Sanjay Gandhi from my earliest Montessori school days, and how we would all play in the Prime Minister's house with their toy trains and building cars with mechano sets, and how Nehru was such a towering figure for us. At that time, Indira Gandhi was just the hostess to her father. I had no idea that Auntie Indu and Rajiv and Sanjay, my pals, would play such a defining role in India's history in the decades to come. We were just a bunch of kids playing around. So I've recounted all that in my book. But as far as the Lenin story goes, I can shed no light on that.